But we're going to do a little painting tonight. This is 999 ASMR Tarot for another week or so. And in January, we are changing to this name, 999 Show. That's what the channel name is going to be in January. So I'm going to work on finishing this little painting here. But I realized that I need to add some paint into my paint tray. And so we're going to be using Bone Black. And Bone Black is a semi-transparent color. You can see by looking at, can you see that? Well, anyway, what there is on here is there's 3 black lines, and then they put a spotch of paint. Well, hi, Angie. And you can see that you can kind of see the black lines through it. So this means it indicates that it is a semi-transparent paint. And I'm going to put a little bit of that in here. I might actually show you all how I do an underpainting too in this process, but I don't know. I'm really rather sleepy. And this is magnesium hue. This here, you can see the lines there. That shows that this is a transparent paint. I'm going to use a little of that. Put that here. My little paint tray thing broke. And so maybe I can figure out how to fix it. This is the side of it that broke. Yeah, it broke right there. So, and yeah. And then I'm thinking I may use some of this fluorescent blue in it. And you can look by here. This is also more transparent than the magnesium hue was. Because I did use some fluorescent blue on the top half. We'll put a little bit in here. Now this fluorescent blue, this paint is getting old and it's starting to break down. I think I showed before what happens when acrylic paints start to get old, what they do. It gets kind of chunky. And I mean, it still works and all, but so if you kind of look on my fingers there, it has a little chunky kind of a flavor to so it's like the pigments and the fluid, your acrylic medium base is starting to break down. It gets kind of, yeah, it's kind of gloopy is what, yeah, that's the word for it. And then I'm going to come in here and I want to use some of this Reflex Rose. Because I really like how Reflex Rose and blue mix together. But I'm using mostly these golden, this is a professional grade paint, whereas this here is a student grade paint. And this here is also it's a transparent color. And then I'm going to use this Zilron Crimson Hue, and this is a semi-transparent color. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see that, you can see, almost see through it. Oh! And a little bit of that. So I think I just made show, I have a painting planned, a video planned, where I will do a side-by-side comparison between, this is a transparent titanium white, transparent titanium white, and I might use this, but I'm not, yeah, I used it in the original, so I think I will use this paint, and this is Reflex Yellow. Reflex Yellow. And this is a transparent primary yellow. I can't get the thing off of there. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I know it's just a lot of like prep work here. Like nothing's really happening here. But anyways, I'm going to put this here. Reflex Yellow. And then I'm going to use some yellow ochre. Hello, yellow. Welcome. Welcome, yellow. Okay, and there we go. We have the paint trays almost all filled up. The brushes I'm going to use in this video, I'm just going to put this aside right over here. And the brushes, I've already started the painting. I've actually been working on it several painting sessions. I'm going to use this watercolor brush here, and I'm going to use these liner brushes. And so this is kind of like a scene that you might see off the Oregon coast, north of Pacific City. There's a lot of haystack rocks, and this might be more like what you might see near Cannon Beach. So hello, Lionheart, welcome. So I'm gonna put in some ocean, and I kind of want to start on a different one. So before I think we start there, I'm gonna start in and do the first coat of a underpainting, and this little canvas has already been prepped for. It has been prepped with gesso on it. So this one originally didn't have. I didn't gesso it. I didn't prime it. I didn't put an underpainting on it, but I painted over it a couple times to the point where it now looks like it has an underpainting on it. And the underpainting is important and so what I'm going to start here with is with doing an underpainting. You do a series of paints mixed with gel medium. So a little bit of gel medium, and I'm going to get my hair dryer out, which I do have it here. I just got to plug it in. And so I'm going to paint down on here. I'm going to use this brush here. I'm going to just paint this in here, just going to work it in. Then I'm going to set it aside, and then I'm going to go work on the other painting. And just let this gel medium kind of work in here and stick. And then probably when I get off, because I'm actually still working on Christmas presents. And I didn't realize that Christmas is just this week. So anyway, so we're going to take this and set it aside. I'm going to put this paintbrush over here, and we're going to get going on working on this. So we're just doing that whole multitasking thing, working on multiple projects at the same time. And so I have the skyline there. So we're looking at creating a color. We're going to do as many like transparent colors as we can with this. I'm gonna and so this will be needing a hair dryer to make it work. So coming in here, making water seem like it's got a lot of different colors in it, and we'll see how it looks when you add layers of transparent colors on top of each other. And so we'll be using the hair dryer to quick dry this stuff as much as possible. Otherwise, this painting video is going to be way longer than my battery powered lights will allow. And so then I'm going to come in and do let's see, we're going to do that. Yeah, okay, let's just come in and do this color all across the because you're reflecting the sky in the wave. So we're gonna, and this is where the water is. There's no beach. There's nothing like that. And so we're going to reflect as much of the sky into here as possible. Maybe not exactly the same colors, but very similar colors. And so I have more of this in here, kind of just coming on here, a little bit thicker over here, coming on down. And so we can only do so many layers before I have to come in with the hair dryer and dry things up, because otherwise it will get pretty muddy. And so I want this really bright yellow just to be kind of in here, and this is that reflexive yellow. Now it has a little bit of that Azaleron crimson in it, but that's okay, because we're just kind of mixing it in, and we're going to brighten it up, and here, mixing it up. We'll see what happens. Jessica, welcome back. And you're on Christmas break now, I see. And we'll add in some of this regular primary yellow. Kind of bring that in. I'm going to bring it pretty much all the way down to the bottom here. With some patterns, and just kind of blocking it in a bit. I'm going to go back up on the top there, adding in a little of this yellow ochre. I'm going to lay this on just a little bit stronger. I might actually come and pull out some glazing fluid, and we could probably do that too, but we'll just kind of put this clear out over here. Now, one of the secrets to getting better at painting is to paint the same images over and over and over again. And then also, while you're doing that, adding variation into your works. And so this zone in here is all sort of a reddish part, because here's where the sun is. It's a sunset or a sunrise. It doesn't really matter, but off in the distance, it's on set. Okay, it's on camera. This is a 5x7 canvas, by the way, 5 inches that way. So if you look at, here's a penny, and then for scale, that's what a penny is, and this is what the size of the painting is. So, anyways. And the camera's distance from the tabletop is about 18 inches. Not quite 2 feet. It's just a little bit over a foot. So that's sometimes I bang into the camera and everything else. And so I might want to do maybe a thin bit of white on here, but I'm not. I'm just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going and adding these colors. Maybe this time I'm going to add some of this reflex rose. I'm going to come in here. I do think I am going to use... Do I have some glazing fluid out? I don't have glazing fluid out, but I do have a gel medium, and I'm using the gel medium by Liquitex. This is a sort of a matte medium, and I'm going to just put a drop of this gel medium on each of these areas here, because we'll just be mixing it in as we go along. And so this will, in lieu of water, we'll just use some of this. And coming up here, we got a lot of this reflex rose here, so you can kind of see the colors just sort of blending in together. And so how the master, my understanding of, because I just saw this on a PBS sketch show. I don't have any official art training. I've just been teaching myself along the way. And is that the way that a lot of the masters painted is that they used thin layers of transparent colors to get Lionheart. The reason the water is not blue is because the sky is not blue. That's why. That's why the water's not blue. The water reflects the color of the sky, and so that's. I've had this table in my bedroom, is where I'm at. I've had this table in my bedroom since 2018. Yeah, since 2018. I've probably had the table since 2017. But anyways, that's the why the water is not blue. So we're going to come in here and come in with some more of this Azaleon Crimson and mix it in with this gel medium. I'm going to just kind of put it in here. I'm going to darken it up, and as you can see, as another layer of this comes down here, it adds more of this color in here and texture. And so we're just going to texture it up. I'm eventually going to put some purple in here. Add some purple. And I'm going to make that purple with... I can't actually put yellow in here because there's a... Well, you don't want to put... I don't want the water to turn green, but we're going to make a... I'm going to make a kind of a lavender color. Next, I'm going to make it out of... This is the fluorescent blue mixed with this reflex rose, and so this is this between these two reflexive paints, which means that they reflect light back at you. And so I'm going to put that in this zone over here, coming over here, and a carry over, so we can add, when you add like this lavendery color and you add it into like yellows and so forth, it doesn't it works better than if you were just to add blue and yellow together, because I really just don't want it to be green. That's the main thing. Though ocean water is often green, because you do see that, but you don't see green in the sky. So for instance, this here is I painted. This is an ampersand aqua board. So it's meant to be used to paint watercolors on it, but I didn't do that. I thought, what, you know, what's the worst that could happen? And so what happened is the colors bled together, and I didn't want a green sky, but I ended up with a green sky. But so when I'm looking at this, I like how this is, because the color back in here, it makes it seem as though it goes on forever. But in this one, yes, the sky is blue. I mean, the ocean is blue, but I don't really. I'm gonna have some blue in here. It's probably just gonna be back in here is where that blue is gonna be at. But so we're gonna work going in that direction. I'm gonna make some more of this reflex. Take that gloopy paint here, mixed with this reflex rose and some more of this gel medium. I'm going to put this like back in here. So this is where we're going to get some of these darker shades and tones of water. And it does have a little bit of a greening going on. There's a little bit of a greening going on here. But that's okay, because we're just going to be adding more layers, and so it'll be fine. But I want to make sure that in this, there is a zone that's going to be as bright yellow as I can get it. It's not going to be the same bright level as in the sky, because it is reflecting through everything. And I don't think I have a reference photo where you can literally see that in the water, but I have one. I just don't have one printed off. And so we're going to come back. Actually, this is dry over here. I'm going to go over and do the first layer in this underpainting. And I put down some gel medium, and it's now dry. And we're going to do a layer of... I'm going to do a tad bit of yellow ochre on it. Just a little bit of yellow ochre. And this is just to prep it so you can do a different painting later. And I'm going to do those different paintings later. I'm going to mix this down with that gel medium, or just a little bit more of that. Mix it together, not too much. And we're just going to work it in there and just give it a good working. And I want to be, I don't want that brush bristle in here, and I need to get that out of there. Oh. Okay, it's got the wrong thing. There we go. Come on. There we go. We don't need that. And I might need some more paint. It's kind of, well, I grabbed in. So what we're doing is, we're doing a warm color first. And then I'm going to lay down, it's a warm color down first. And this will help to add a measure of depth into a future painting. And like I say, in the new year, I'm going to do a long play video. It'll be short. Of course, it'll be... Well, good night, Jessica. Thanks for tuning in for a few minutes. And I'm going to do a side-by-side painting where I'll show you what is the difference between painting with an underpainting and painting with nothing, like no primer, no nothing. And I think you'll be able to see the difference, because I know that I can see the difference, and just how hard it is to literally to paint when I repurchased the paints when they start to wear out, when I start to run out. But oftentimes I notice that I have more on hand than I have a lot on hand. I can just gonna say I have a lot on hand, and like brushes and everything. I have a lot of brushes that I don't even use anymore. And that's because I'm learning how to paint. I'm learning better how to paint. And so all the brushes that I previously bought in the past, I don't even use them, because I've learned how to use these other ones and be more effective with them. So like when I do a larger painting, I will use this one to scrub colors in. And I have, yeah, my favorite color paint is this one right here, and this one right here. It is the neon colors are my favorite colored paints, and as well as the blue, because I like bright colors. It's like it's like why this is my favorite tarot deck. This is my favorite tarot deck because of those bright colors. That yellow, I love those bright colors in the yellow. I like those yellows and so forth. Yeah. Yeah. But I like those other colors too. I mean, my favorite kind of shirt to wear is a Hawaiian shirt. I love Hawaiian shirts. I have quite a few of them. So we were doing in here, working out this yellow. This we'll make another of this. This paint is really gloopy. I don't like it when it gets like that, but I need to use it up. I haven't. I bought this, I think, like 5 years ago, and so it's maybe, yeah, that neon blue is like 5 years old, I believe, because it's about 5 years ago is when I started buying golden paints, and um, I'm going to mix it with this Reflex Rose. A lot more of this going in there, kind of darkens it up. It looks a little bit muddy here, so I think I'm going to take it and use a lot more of this. I'm going to try to brighten it up a bit more. And it's starting to brighten up there. You see that? See how that's brightening up? Yeah, yeah. And so let's put a little bit more of this gel medium in here. I really need to go get that glazing fluid. I have it in a tub that's right beside me here. So we're gonna put this down here, and this is where our water is that's going to be darker color, but we are going to try to create that energy in the water, and we do that by doing a series of light and darker tones, and to get it to feel like the water is actually moving. And it's a huge trick to do that, but that's kind of that's what we're going to try to achieve. We may not, but I want to achieve that. So I think I'm going to put some of this lavender in over here too, and then we're going to come back over it with some of these other colors, and we're still just building up to get more color, reflect the color to be more reflective of you know, those sky colors. And so brushes, so this one, this is probably the latest brush I bought, and this cost $22. And so I know that I paid $10 for this, and I went back looking for it. I didn't even know it was a watercolor brush. I bought it like 3 or 4 years ago, and I had no idea that there's just a lot of things I just don't know, because it's what happens when you teach yourself how to do things, that oftentimes you just get things, oh, I like how it works, but you don't really know what it is. Maybe you never asked any questions, you just bought it. And so yeah, that's me. And then you watch like a bunch of tutorials and stuff like that, and yeah, I'm gonna get some carryover so that we can get some of that orangeness there. And put that in here. And put that over here. It'll be kind of reflexive of those colors. And then we'll work on, we're just gonna do this. I suppose as for side entertainment, I can turn that slot machine app that I was playing for the last hour before I turned the camera on. Yeah, so I'm thinking about, since we're punching really close to Christmas and I've got a lot of things to do, I'm not going to do a Tuesday video because that's Christmas Eve. I have a special tomorrow night. I'm going to do I'm not going to do my tomorrow afternoon, but tomorrow night we will do, I went and cataloged all of the tarot deck acquisitions I have for 2024, and I'm just going to go over those briefly. And tomorrow evening, probably 10 o'clock at night, most likely 10 o'clock my time, and I don't know what it, and that's in. I haven't made the thumbnail for it yet, but anyways, it should be interesting. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm not all that interesting. If I went by the analytics, I could definitely say that I wasn't all that interesting. You see how this yellow is starting to come to life over here? Just the layers of it. I think it's kind of time to start doing. I'm just going to paint this gel medium on top of here. Let that dry. I like the zones of color in here, how they're starting to shape up here. Some carryover. Okay. I'm going to put this aside and let it dry a little bit. And then we're going to come back here. It's dry enough, and we're going to go to the next color, and I'm going to do more gel medium. And I got this brush here. I don't want it to dry out because I've ruined brushes before, and you know, your paint brushes are way too expensive to ruin them by not at least not washing them after you get done using them, or for this matter, just keeping it sort of keeping the colors, keeping the brush in water. I have 4 things of water right here, so I don't want to like cross-contaminate too many different colors. So you put that gel medium in there, and the next color I'm going to put down here is going to be a cool color, which will be in just a minute or two. So this is how you make a underpainting. And I have on my community post, I do have the tutorial that I used in order to do that underpainting itself. So I didn't come up with it. I just while I was watching tutorials on how to use wax pastels, I ran across underpaintings, and that's where I learned about underpaintings. You know, I didn't learn about underpaintings from Bob Ross, because Bob Ross didn't use underpaintings, but what he did do is Bob Ross used liquid white on his canvases before he started painting anything. And we got this tone over here. We're just going to add that in over here. I'm going to come up here with just a little bit of this transparent titanium white, and it's going to make kind of a creamy color here. And I'm going to go over the surface. I think I may need... Yeah, Bob Ross is the best. And I remember watching Bob Ross when he was still alive. And I'm gonna mute the camera and give this just a little bit of a blow here. I'm gonna give it a little blow. A little blow. And just because it's still a little bit wet here. And so I'm getting those layers on, and what you're supposed to do is let the paint layers dry fully before you start applying new layers. Otherwise, it'll turn to mud. And so we're going to just give it a little bit of a blow here. All right, and there it goes. I gave it enough of a blow so we can carry on. And where's my brush at? Where did it blow off to? All right, here we go. That's the yellow. I'm mixing all my colors together here. I'm not very organized, but nevertheless, we're coming back in here and we're putting this sort of a cream color in here and mixing it down. It's the gel medium. I'm going to get more of that gel medium, a little bit of water, make it, thin it down. I'm going to put it in here and when this thing's all done, it'll look way better after it's been fully dried. But we're not quite in that stage where it's even remotely close to being done. And kind of making that color over here. Because you can see it kind of, you know, you can see things shining through here just a bit. We'll put some of this over here too. And then we'll build right back on top of it. You know, a lot of painting is just experimentation. And coming in here, we're just doing, you know, we get those happy accidents. And put some of this up here too. Just, it adds just more complexity, more depth. Over here as well. Thin layers. So, because you can see that when you know how to start using a brush, you don't actually need that many brushes. But when you're starting out, you may be using a lot of brushes because you're trying to figure out how to get a thin line. And you're doing everything within your power to get a thin line. But the reason you're not getting a thin line is because you don't have the muscle control built up yet in order to even do what you want to do. So it's that whole thing of balancing expectations to reality and how necessary that concept is of balancing expectations to reality. Not just in painting, but in your entire life of doing things. And oftentimes people give up doing things because they haven't balanced expectation to reality. And the reality is that, and I've mentioned this many times on this show, is that what you imagine something to be and what it is are different things. And when you're a young person learning how to do an artistic endeavor, how it maybe write poetry or do creative writing, whatever you do, it's terrible for a while. Like Stephen King says, and he says this in his book on writing, and he talked about, so let's say you want to learn how to write, and it takes years to learn how to lay down lines on the page, and so that they work, and so they work well. For me, as a writer, I didn't really start to get mediocre at writing until like right around 2010, and I started writing in 1987. So you think about that. 1987 is when I started writing poetry, and I didn't start to get good at writing. I'm still not good at writing, but I sit writing poetry. But I didn't start feeling like where that balancing expectation to reality didn't start. It didn't start to show through for like what, 80, 90. Yeah, like 30 years. I worked on it for 30 years, and then I just started. I just barely started to be able to lay lines down lay lines down that I liked, and then it's just practice and practice and practice, and that's the only way you can get good at anything. And talent only gets you so far. It's the hard work and the practice. It's what gets you the rest of the way. And it's not ready to start do that other quite. Yeah, let's just do a little bit, work on that other layer here, the underpainting here, because it's a little bit sticky. And we will put down some more gel medium. I'm going to mix that down. And so what Stephen King said in his book on writing is, let's say you write a short story every day. You're going to write a 1,000 word or a 500 word short story every day. At the end of the first year that you start writing that, you will have 3 stories that are okay. But but you'll have 362 stories that suck. And that's the first year. And then the next year, maybe you'll write a story, you'll write another 365 500 word stories, and you will have maybe 5 stories that don't suck. And then eventually you will have 50% of the stories you write won't suck. But that's how it takes some time, and a lot of it's that whole 10,000 hour thing. You have to put the 10,000 hour thing in to gain just a small layer of mastery. And I don't know where I'm at in painting as far as that 10,000 hour thing is at. I need to get this stuff off of here that's just really annoying me. And so thank you, Shark Cool, about that. I'm going to take this, came off the table, I'm certain. It's some old paint. I don't need it on here. I don't want it in my painting. It's there. And these are bristles. The bristles are starting to come off the brush. I don't want them in the painting either. That one here is a bristle, and you can see I'm starting to scrape the paint off, and I don't want that in here either. Come on, get out of here. All right, that's enough of those things. All right, I'm going to move that over here, let that dry. I'm going to come back in over here. And where was I? We are working on this layer here. Okay, I'm going to clean that brush off. And let's go grab this other one. And I'm going to work back in over on this side with the yellows, and we'll come back in with the reflex yellow, and in with just another thin layer of that in a zone here. Put it in up here, coming down here. And you can kind of see as it is, those layers of colors are blending together. Now I did that kind of a cream color down, and now I add this reflex rose down here, and it is starting to come loose. And there's a little bristle here, and maybe it's my hair is getting long. It may be my hair too. I really need a haircut. You know, I haven't actually been into a barbershop since like 2020. And I've cut my own hair, or my aunt has cut my hair, but my aunt is in another state and hasn't been down this way since one of my nieces got married in June. So that was the last time I had a haircut, was in June. There we go. took that off. So yeah, in here, and there. There we go. It's getting kind of this translucent, sort of a phosphorescent kind of a look. And that is, and there's another one of those bristles or hairs in here. I'll just leave the pocket knife open. Is that what it is? Or maybe that's, no, it is. It's, no, this one is a hair. Come on. Come on, you bugger. Come on. It's like really stuck down in here. There we go. Okay, we're just going to leave that open. Smooth that over. Yeah, there we go. Get those colors out of there. And then up here, we're going to make that color a little bit more orangey. So we'll go back up here to this yellow ochre. And it looks like I have some red in there that was there previously. But that's okay. It'll come in here. Mix in more of that gel medium into that paint. And coming up here into this zone here. And maybe a little bit over here too. And down here. We're going to lay it on here a lot thicker and heavier. Bring it across. Over here. You actually, technically speaking, you wouldn't see this color like this, but you would see something a little bit darker over here. But it's okay for now. I'm going to add some shadows in here of these rocks, because depending on how deep the water is, will tell you in the ocean is if you can actually see the reflection of a big rock in the water. So if the water is really shallow, if I add a lighter color in here, you might get hints here that there's actually sand back in here. And if I were to, let's say, use this color, this pale umber, if I would have put a little bit of this pale umber in here, you might think that there was sand here. And I'm not actually going to be putting the waves in, because I'm just not, that's not something I can do in a 90-minute or a 2-hour long video. I've done one painting with waves, literal waves in it, and that one took me 6 months to do. And so that was like in 2019, and I spent 6 months on a painting. Okay, we are moving on, coming in, bringing these colors in here. I need more gel medium. One of the things that your gel medium can do now, if I were to use a glazing fluid, it would have a retardant in it, which would help to slow the drying down. So when you're using gel mediums and glazing fluids in your paint, this is how you can get acrylic paints to start to mimic oil paints. And oil paints dry really slow, and that's the biggest reason you use gel medium or glazing fluids to thin your paints down versus using just straight up water, is because of that. And the slower you can make these paints dry, the more brilliant you can get the colors to be. And so I'm kind of really liking this. I'm really kind of liking this. I'm going to put in, I don't particularly care to work off of canvas, and the reason is the texture of the canvas. I actually don't like the texture of the canvas itself, and it kind of, that's why I paint on paper all the time. And it's also why I would go with like this ampersand or a clay board or something like that. And because clay board is a little bit smoother of a smoother material, or to literally just to paint on wood. And well, thank you, Prairie, thank you. I'm still right wait, okay, I'm gonna go over and do the next layer on the underpainting. So what I, just as a recap, what we have started here with is I put down, you didn't show you that I put down the primer. I put the primer down like 2 days ago, and then I put down a layer of gel medium. I got these bristles, I think that means I'm ready to replace some of these brushes here. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to send that along. And so then I put down a layer of yellow ochre. I did pick up a little red in there. And then I put another layer of gel medium down. And so the next layer of color I'm going to do is a cool color. And so I'm going to just put some of this magnesium hue down. Yeah, my brushes are shedding. That's exactly what's happening. I know I'm shedding. I know that. And so we're just going to put a spot of this down. And I'm going to thin it with a spot of gel medium. Just thin that down. And we're going to just add that on in here. Just kind of scrub it in there real good. Just scrub it in there. So it was a layer of a warm color, followed by a layer of a cool color, blue. And you want to do, preferably in this, you are doing transparent colors. You're not using opaque colors, because you want to be able to see through and have the light show through here, and so you're seeing all the layers, and so you want all those layers to be coming through in the end. And so as you can see here, there's two main layers of, okay, yeah, my brushes are several years old now, so as you can see when you're looking through here, you can see the other layers coming through it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I have actually, I spent a lot of money on paint this year, and I'm actually working off of I'm working off of my newest brushes right now, and this is my latest brush. I just bought this like 2 months ago, and so my latest brush purchases are these. All of these brushes I bought after September, and this is a liner brush, and this is a watercolor brush, and this is another liner brush. And yeah. And then the rest of the brushes, and I've had this one for years, and I didn't know what to do with it. Yeah, those watercolor brushes are really expensive, because these ones here, I think I paid like $10 for this one, and this was probably like $8. These ones here like $8. I think that I got this one for like 4 or 5 or 6. This is my stencil brush. And yeah, between like under 10 for most of the brushes, but the watercolor brushes are very expensive. And then I bought some brushes I have that I just got at the hardware store, and they're for house painting, but I use them like when I do larger pieces as blender brushes and so forth. Okay, so where was I at? I did this section, and I'm gonna come in back over here and do some more of this. Use this Zilron Crimson, starting to dry out a bit, but it's okay. We'll just add water to it, and more gel medium. I'm gonna thin it down with the gel medium. Prairie winds and wildflower. So what else do you do, Prairie Winds? Or do you also with your spiritual arts? Is that like so we're just gonna put this in here like this, this over here like that, thin layers. I'll check your channel out when I'm done here. Maybe a little bit in here. That different layers there. And then some different layers in here, here. Get that to show through darker colors. And at this point in time, I think I'm just going to go in with the, I think I might do some down here as well. Yeah. And so this zone here is going to be yellow, and then I'm going to start applying some blue in. And I'm still working on this fluorescent blue. And then I'll put some of this magnesium hue into it. We'll thin it down. And put this in here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, I am, I do, my concentration is more in mysticism, and, I come out of a Lutheran and Catholic background, or Catholic Lutheran. Yeah, Lutheran. Was raised as a Lutheran, and then I became a Catholic, and now I'm back in with Lutheran, because as well, because that's the and put some of these layers in there. But I also have a tarot practice too, so I must be like the devil's handmaid, having do all that kind of stuff. Anyways, depending on who you talk to, I haven't really come completely out of the closet as far as tarot is concerned. A lot of my Christian friends don't know that I practice tarot, and so we're going to put in some blue in here to get these darker spots. Start working on putting that energy in the water. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. A lot of it with, yeah. I'm starting to like how it's starting to come into being here. Put some of this in over here. Get those shades of light and darkness. deep water and shallow water, as long as it doesn't turn green. But yeah, but you must know, as if when you're running on a variety show on YouTube, that it's really hard to do a variety show. And I'm gonna go back in with just this straight magnesium hue. I'm gonna put that in here, and then it is turning green in places here, and which is not what I wanted to happen, but it's kind of okay because it is water. So, and I think I'll put this brush over here, and I'll grab the other brush. It's time I can put in another layer of color on my underpainting. My beautiful piece, yeah. Okay. Yeah, hopefully I have enough definition on. I'm using a Motorola Stylus 2021 phone. That's what I'm doing the show on. I had a bigger camera that I think I bought that in like 2013 that died on me, but wasn't set up for streaming. I would love to have a real camera for doing streaming, to have like something where I could do 4K video on. Okay, I didn't like what that had, with the color starting to rub off. So I'm gonna hit it with the. But I guess that's just the way it is. I'll just lightly brush it in, prep the surface. I'm gonna hit it with the hair dryer. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Yeah, and that's largely why I started doing live shows, because when my laptop computer broke, and I have a little office space in the garage, but right now it's like 30 degrees out there, and am I gonna be out editing a video in a space that's 30 degrees? No, I'm not. And so that's why I moved to a live show, because of that. I'm gonna mute the camera, and I'm gonna give this a little blow here to dry up this layer. I must say, this is probably the fastest I've ever done an underpainting before. One of my underpaintings, it took like 2 days to do them, because of the dry time, and as the subsequent layers went on. Now what am I doing? I'm going to do I'm going to go in back into the yellow again, and maybe just do another like a cream color. And do a little bit more of a yellow, a very light yellow, very light yellow. And I think I'll use the primary yellow this time. We'll mix it with more of this gel medium just to okay. I think that's the color I want. Kind of coming through here. Maybe some different zones, not fully in here, but I want it really kind of strong in here. This is, in this area here is where I want the most amount of the, of that bright yellow. Okay, all right. Now we'll just put that aside and we'll get that other brush out. On a box of a deck I made. I don't quite understand what you meant by that. You were working on a on the box of a deck. Oh, you mean a deck of okay, I get you. I think I get what you're talking about. And we're gonna come back in with, I think I'm just gonna do a light shade of this reflex rose. I'm gonna work that in here. It's starting to dry a bit. And so just like I did with the yellow, I'm off camera, I'm sorry. I'm gonna come over here with the white and I'm gonna just pull in some of this. And I'm gonna make this very light pinky color. Now I'm not quite sure I like this color like this, so I think I'm gonna add to it some of this Zilron Crimson, just to change it just a little bit so it's not so pinky. And I'm going to add, but I want to lighten it down a lot more. Less brilliant pink. And add more white. More white. There we go. It's coming up. Oh, it's some oracle cards. I see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I made an oracle deck too. I'm going to be making another in 2025. I'm going to be working on a probably, oh, grab some blue in there. That's good. Be working on creating a crosswords oracle that is different from the other crosswords oracles I've done. So I have one that I'm sending to to someone in Texas, a YouTuber in Texas, and I have it here. Here's the box that I made for it, and so it is. And I made the cards out of losing crossword scratch lottery tickets, but I want to make one where I'm just actually going to make it on paper, and so these work for divination, and so looks like I glued these together but yeah, there we go. I'm going to send out probably eventually another one. But I've been divining with those kind of cards for a little while. So we're going to do just a light coat of this stuff. I feel like I have too much paint on this brush, so we'll just put a little bit in and over here, trying to get that sense of that energy in the water. Get to dry up there. You never got them done with to get them professionally finished. Okay, yeah, I haven't done that, but Moon Scarab, he has been encouraging me to make an oracle deck for a professional, and so a professional made one. And I just don't feel like I'm there yet, but I'm gonna put this down this line here on down like that. A little bit more light through the hole there, and some other places here where there's a bit more light over there. Maybe we'll add some of that pinky color into this yellow zones here. You can get a sense of that starting to make the ocean have that shape of the energy here. I don't think I'll put any in here, and so over here, probably have too much of this color. Well, we'll just add some blue into it and make a different tone altogether. Carpal tunnel, pocket, a petal, tarot, and okay. Yeah, so I have here on my set and slash altar, I have, these are off my apple and pear tree in the backyard, and I cut them in the spring, and so when the next spring comes around, I will cut more of these wands that will go on my altar slash my my set for my show set, and come in here with this color here. Kind of starting to take shape. I think it's time to change to the liner brush, and yeah. So you did it, okay. What is Swarovski? What is that? What does that mean? I don't need this one anymore, and we're done. We're done with this brush. And so we're kind of into, I think, that stage where this painting will be done. I think I'll have this whole painting done in, how's this doing over here? I think it's time to do another layer of color on the underpainting here. And so now I did a layer of yellow ochre, then I did a layer of blue, of magnesium hue, and now I'm going to do a warm color. And so what I'm going to do here is I am going to do, how about we choose, this time I think I'll use this. I'll use this quinacridone magenta. this quinacridone magenta on here. And it's dry up enough. So I'll put some of this down in this spot. And of course, more gel medium. There. And get that brush out. So tomorrow night, Sunday night, I'm going to do my 2024 tarot deck acquisitions. And I seem to have collected a lot more than I was thinking I did. So warm over cool. And then, so this is a reddish color. Trying to achieve an optical gray. And just kind of work that in. Wow, that's pretty cherry there. I might do 6 layers of colors instead of 4, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And so we'll go back in and we'll do a nice, cool yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to do... Where's my glazing fluid at? I'm going to do some phthalo green. Cool it down. Phthalo green. Where is my there? That's the color I'm going to do on the underpainting next. Is some phthalo green, and yeah. Okay. Now onward, Christian soldiers, we go on. All right. Going back into the yellows. Yellow. You make jewelry, pottery, dishware, dream catchers, and wall hangings, fluid art, beaded bull skulls, and everything with... Okay, all right. I never actually used the resins before. Yeah. So do you have a degree in art, or did you study that in school, or are you self-taught like me? Okay, so you're just self-taught. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Most people are self-taught. You just kind of get a passion for it and you do it. I want this zone in here to be just brilliant yellow, because this is like where the sun is angled out through the clouds, and you can see it, where you can just see it brilliantly yellow, and everything else is sort of not so brilliant, but it's all just super brilliant. Yeah. Here we go. I want to make sure I'm not off camera. So tomorrow night at 8, no, I said 10 p.m. Pacific time will be my next live stream until after Christmas. I might do a pop-up if I have time, but I have a lot of things to do to get ready for Christmas, and so, and major cleaning project that I've been putting off for days, actually weeks, that I've been needed to do as well. All right. Starting to take shape. And then come back in here. I'm just going to put some of this straight, more of this straight reflex yellow in here. And just some zones in it. And there we go, coming in there like that. Seem like there's waves. I can move this stuff out, and I can put my slot machine app on, and I can, so if you want to listen to slot machine music while I do this, I have enough credits built up that with pennies, I can let it run for a while. I'm starting to put the waves in place here. And let's go to this other yellow here. Put that in here too. Putting the energy in. It's just bright. So it's like, it's the effect that you're looking at here is that, and you've seen this when you go and look at the ocean, if you live near ocean or you've been to the ocean, of looking into the water at sunset and being absolutely blinded by it. And that's what I like about using these reflex colors, is you can simulate that effect that the light is blinding. It's blinding you when you look at it. And as you can see, these little subtle differences between the two different yellows in here. And actually, we'll put that third yellow in the yellow ochre, and put this in here because of different light and dark spots. The light and dark spots, and coming in there. I'm thirsty. Well, thank you. It's actually, I've this has many layers of paint on it. I didn't start with an underpainting. I didn't even prime the canvas, but I ended up having to, midway through, I ended up having to do a underpainting on it because I just couldn't really work the paint very well. And that's why it's kind of really necessary to do things like adding doing that underpainting. You know, if you, I just like I said earlier, I didn't know about underpaintings 6 months ago, or I didn't know, and I just recently learned how to do them, and it kind of revolutionizes your work. And so we're going to work here, trying to get that energy in the water without actually making chop. We make chop by just putting little flecks of color into it. And I'm using just pretty much like the color straight out of the tube. It's getting dry. So I need to add some water in here. I'm going to put it in over that. I'm going to put some of these zones in here. So when I do this other one over here, which I'm going to do the exact same image, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try before Monday to get three more of these done. They take like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours to do each. And so I'm giving them away as gifts. So that's my plan for Christmas gifts, is just giving paintings away. I'm going to paint over those pinky zones. And I'm working off a camera. I gotta stop doing that. Coming up here. In these different zones of light and darkness. Light and darkness. Darker water is generally deeper, or generally deeper. But I'm going to try to make this water a little bit smoother, and I can put in some shadows of the haystack rocks in here. So maybe there'll be an illusion there that there might be some beach in here, but maybe not. It doesn't matter. You're on the beach and you're looking out into the sunset in the distance. You might be at Cannon Beach, because you will see this scene in Cannon Beach, a scene like this. I took this off a reference photo that I took off of, I downloaded off of Reddit from somebody looking at a sunset in Cannon Beach, Oregon. So this is very similar to that. And I generally don't go to Cannon Beach when I go to the beach. I mean, it's a long ways away. It's almost 2 hours away from where I live. It's a long trek. I generally pass over Cannon Beach and go to Seaside, because I have relatives who live in Seaside. So in Cannon Beach, everything is very expensive, and it's like the rich person beach that, at least it's had that reputation for years. And so maybe just a little bit of motion here. We'll be adding some white in here soon. I want to go back in and do some more of this purple, and that's what I'm going to be using to construct those. Let me go back in here. This is the reflex rose before everything dries up here. Go back to the reflex rose. Eventually I want to do, if I can swing it, I'm going to live stream me playing chess again on my chess computer, which is something that my mother bought for me in the late 90s. The only toy ever gifted to me as an adult. It certainly wasn't anything my dad ever did. He got me a toolbox once, but I don't really use tools. And because I've always been that kind of guy who likes toys. I guess that's why I like tarot, because tarot sort of speaks to the big kid in me, and that big kid in me that likes toys. So in that sense, maybe that's more the driver for adults to do things like tarot, and it's less about religion. It's more about the fact that you really just like toys. You like card games and toys and stuff like that, even though there's a this other element to it. So over here, I'm going to put this lavender over here to signify that this is the shadow coming in here. The sun's over here, and we're going to be putting shadow, and that shadow is of this rock in the water, maybe down to about here, and a little bit more of this shadow over here, in here. I think I might just dab it a little bit so it kind of looks like there is that. A little bit darker over here, so then we'll come back in. Some darker water. Lighter, darker water. Some more shadow. The strawberry shortcake dolls, yeah. Yeah. Does my analysis, Anne, sound correct about, you know, tarot cards and adults and toys? And just that some people just, you're not supposed to, when you're an adult, you're not supposed to like toys, but then yet you do. But then you think of, how many adults have toys? A lot of the adult toys, like their motorcycles or their boats or and they're things like that. And in me, as a sort of an artistically inclined person and a spiritual person, it's the toys and it's the entertainment. Yeah, you're never too old for toys. But with like my folks, they were like, my dad was born in 38 and my mom was born in 40. And that's right at the tail end of the Great Depression, or kind of like right at the beginning of World War II. And so there were all those Depression values, and so in those Depression values, there wasn't much use for toys, or because it was all about practicality and stuff like that. And we're going to come back in with another of this. I need to thin that down some more and thin it down. I think we'll use this. I'm going to thin that paint down. Yeah. Hit areas of light and dark. Just kind of putting it in here. Show where the waves are at. And we're going to come in the final coat. We're going to be coming in and adding just some white tops in there to make it seem as though there's actual waves. And I'm just kind of bringing that in here. We're blending these colors together. I'm not going to be using a blender brush in this project at all. No blender brush. I've done that in the past. Just a little bit here and there. Over here. Just getting that texture, just working that texture so it has that areas of just light and dark and light and dark, light and dark, and just to simulate energy, to simulate the energy in the water. And that's what we're doing here. So if you're watching this on the replay, which hopefully this time you would have turned the dial up to double speed so that you can see how instead of it taking 2 hours to get through the video, that you can get go through it in an hour, and maybe you can put some music on in the background and you can just watch this thing unfold. I think it's time to do that other layer of on the underpainting. And so I'm going to put this over here, and I said I was going to do a layer of another cool layer, and this time I'm going to okay, this time I'm going to hit it with this phthalo green, like that. And a bit more of that gel medium. There. So, Christine, day by day, if you watch this on the replay, this here is how you make an underpainting. You've asked me a few times in comments about just these kinds of techniques here. So we're just going to be scrubbing this in and putting that in. It's kind of dark. So this is a cool color, and then I'm going to do another warm color, and I'm going to go back in and do just a transparent yellow. And so that was a hot color that I did before, followed by a cool color. This is the cool color. And then I will do another hot color, which will be, I think, primary yellow. And then I'm going to follow it up with the final color is I'm going to do bone black. It's a thin layer of bone black. And so hopefully it will be achieving. I'm going to, before we begin, I'm going to hit this with the hair dryer right now, and then so I will mute the thing and okay, so I think I can do, I'm going to do that next color here now, just a little bit of that. I want to lighten it down up a bit. Come on, get out of there, you bugger. I need some on the other painting too, but there we go. It's more than I need. Okay, I took it off mute, so good. I feel like I don't have any fluid white, but it's okay. So we're going to mix this down in here. starting to get pretty glassy on the surface. Really glassy. Maybe I get 2 of these done. I'm hoping I can get 3 of these done before Christmas. And I can give one, I need to get one done, at least one done by Monday, so I can send my aunt, who's been very good to, that's my mom's youngest sister, being very good to us here, very generous with her time and money and so forth. And so we'll put this over here. Come back to that. So tomorrow night at 8. No, why did I say 8? I meant 10 Pacific time. We'll go over and just, seems like I collected like 20 decks last year. There are a few that I've gotten this month that I'm going to be pushing forward into my 2025 decks. And so we are coming in here. I'm going to come in and do some, add some white, some layers of white. And this thing's almost done, I believe. It looks like it's almost done. Yeah, some blue and some white. I want some light blue. You know, I might... Do I have any of this in here, this teal? No, I don't. It's all dried up. I bought that one in like 2019. There's not much left of it, but so we'll take this magnesium hue and I'm gonna lighten it up with some white, make it a lighter shade, just have some of that green in it, but that's okay. It kind of makes it more of a jade type of color. And so you might think that you could see that color in the sea, maybe. It doesn't matter because, as I've said before, we're operating out of imagination land, and that is the most important thing about painting is your imagination. I think I'm gonna add. I'm gonna do the hair dryer on this one too. So I'm gonna mute the camera. All right. Let's see. Okay. And there we go. We are going to start adding that color in. Let me add a bunch of water to it and some more of this gel medium. More water. I got this purple water over here. I'll add to that. You'd think it wouldn't work to go and add lighter colors on top of darker colors, but if you let the surface dry, it totally works. And so these just little strokes like this. Be adding these layers in here, just little bits here and there, just to, we're blending at this stage, we're blending everything together so that we have a representative of these colors into here, and it's kind of going through the whole piece. Must be my sister calling now. And there, coming up here, just a little bit of that. Over here, and over there. Maybe we'll move the camera out a little bit. At an angle. Got the zones where we got some big waves coming in. Some big waves coming in. Light and dark, light and dark. Zones of light and dark. The energy of the ocean. Just want you to imagine that. Just imagine the energy of the ocean now. All that power, all that, just that awesomeness of nature. The moon pulling on the water, causing it to bulge, causing it to move and be in constant motion. That's what I want you to think about. Just that. The light and darkness, the light and darkness that exist at sunset. Come over here to that pinky color. We'll just kind of mix it down here. See how much of it we can lift off of there. Make it into just a little different color. I'll put some of that in here. Different colors. So for the person who asks, why is the ocean water not blue? Well, the water is becoming blue. So you don't start with, we're starting with the undercolors. And then from here we create the overcolors. I need to go back in here with that yellow and make that yellow really strong here, and then, but we're going to come in with some white, just some white to get those waves and the waves. You know, I'm going to read a poem here from one of my favorite spiritual poet writers. Where is that book? About oceans and waves. Oh, here we go. This is from the Kabir book, and I've had this book since like 1994. And I graduated from college in 1994 with a major in mathematics and religious studies. And then I did some further education in Christian theology at a Quaker school. But the Kabir is a 15th century Indian Sufi poet. And he was born in that kind of, I think, Benares, India, but Kabir was different. Now, he was illiterate, so all of his spiritual teachings were all written down by scribes and so forth. So I want to read some of his water poems, and I'm going to find them in here. Let's start with this, number 10. Between the conscious and the unconscious, the mind has put up a swing. All creatures, even the supernovas, sway between these two trees, and it never winds down. Angels, animals, humans, insects by the millions, also the wheeling sun and moon. Ages go by and it goes on. Everything is swinging, heaven, earth, fire, water, and the secret one slowly growing a body. Kabir saw this for 15 seconds, and it made him a servant for life. And I want to find that poem that I really want to share with you about the ocean. Oh, this is a very... Okay, here it is. Here's one of them. I laugh when I hear that the fish in the water is thirsty. I laugh when I hear that the fish in the water is thirsty. You don't grasp the fact that what is most alive of all is inside your own house. And so you walk from one holy city to the next with a confused look. Kabir will tell you the truth. Go wherever you like, to Calcutta or Tibet or Rome or Jerusalem or Salt Lake City or New York or San Francisco. If you can't find where your soul is hidden, for you, the world will never be real. I laugh when I hear that the fish in the water is thirsty. There is a sun and a moon in my body, but I can't see it. A moon and a sun, a drum never touched by hands beating, and I can't hear it. As long as a human being worries about when he will die and what he has that is his, all his works are zero. When affection for the eye creature in what it owns is dead, then the work of the teacher is over. The purpose of labor is to learn. When you know it, the labor is over. The apple blossom exists to create fruit. When that comes, the petals fall. The musk is inside the deer, but the deer does not look for it. It wanders around looking for grass. It wanders around looking for grass. The kingdom of God is inside of you. It is not outside of you. And where is that poem that I was looking for? I still haven't found it. And there it is, number 22. And that's the last one of these I'll read to you. I've been thinking about the difference between water and the waves on it. Rising, water is still water. Falling back, it is water. Will you give me a hint how to tell them apart? Because someone has made up the word wave, do I have to distinguish it from water? There is a secret one inside us. The planets and all the galaxies pass through his hands like beads. That is a string of beads one should look at with luminous eyes. And there we go. There's a lot of my notes, and the book is just so beat up, used. Okay, now we're ready for some more paint here. And we'll do some more white over here. Add that white in here. I'm going to thin it down with water. Just grab some water. We're going to make it thinner. So I was ready. I did a hot color on that the last time, and so then we're going to be coming in here with a cool color. So this is your wave, sort of a wave coming in. All right, so it has a little splash there. More white, more white. Coming in here, more white. The zones of light and darkness. I've been thinking about the word wave, water, and the waves rising on it. Rising, water is water. Falling back, it is water. Can you give me a hint how to tell them apart? Just because someone has made up the word wave, do I have to distinguish it from water? So how do you think it's starting to look here? Is it getting too busy? Is it too busy, or is it starting to pull together? Starting to pull together a bit. I need more white. There we go. Get some just straight up right white here. And I might go and do that other thing that I was talking about, and I think I will do that now. I'm going to take, I need some more, take that yellow. I think we'll just take that yellow and we'll put it in here. We got this zone of yellow coming in here. More of that yellow from the sun is showing through. And so Kabir, the first English translation of the Kabir poetry was done like in the 1850s. I think Tagore and Underhill. And I think that they lived in America, so they were immigrants, Indian immigrants to America, to the United States in the 1800s. I think that's where they were from, but I don't quote me on that because I'm going to put this up front here, the yellow, and up here, kind of a creamier color, and coming up here, just the water, putting that water into the, or light into it all. And I'm going to come up here with this other color, and we're going to put that in there too, get that bright yellow in here. The sun is really bright in some of these spots. And a little spot over here, a patch of really bright light on there. Maybe over here. Get the light shining over here as well. It's turned green, but that's okay. And then we come back in. We're still doing this color here, over here as well. Kind of gets an orangey effect. Water's rolling over here. Now, from your vantage point, you actually may be able to see this totally different than I can, and because I won't really be able to see exactly what I did until tomorrow. Even though I've done this very similar image, I've done it probably 10 times now. And like I said in the beginning, that is how you really gain some mastery fast, is by doing the same image over and over and over again. And I need some more white. You have to get some more titanium white. I've run out of it, and I want to get this thing wrapped up before my lights burn out. I think that this is going to be even a longer stream than, but you know, if I were to just to do this whole painting is a 6 to 8 hour job. This 5x7 painting from start to finish, I'm looking at like a 5 or 6 or 8 hour job. That's how long it takes to do a painting with an underpainting and so forth. It just takes time. And that's also another thing when you are just starting out painting, you don't really think about how long things take to get done. And so that hasn't turned green, so that's okay. And we'll put this in here. Don't think about that it takes hours and hours and hours to do this. And so when you watch a video that's been edited or speeded up, you may actually see this whole painting unfold in a course of like 4 minutes. But know that if you see one of those paintings like that, they probably did take 8 hours to do it. And I'm going to run this in here as the zone of this light here. Kind of there. And I'm going to go get another liner brush at this point in time because I want to quicken things up. I think it's time for that last coat of the bone black. And to finish the underpainting, and I'm going to do that now. Here it is. It's still a little bit sticky. I'm going to add in this color, this down here. And here's that brush. So we're going to put this on here. And so you will see in the new year, I'm going to do this painting, the side-by-side comparison. I will do one with a underpainting and one without even priming the canvas. And so they'll do the video. And hi, Mr. Oakley, welcome. Welcome. I'm just doing this is demonstrating. I've been demonstrated how to do an underpainting along with other paintings. And now I'm going to add the final color. I think I'm just going to go grab that color from over here because I don't really want to use too much of it. Oh, it's gone hard already. So I guess I'm not. Maybe I got some of it over here. That's right. You came into the video that when I was using my chess computer for the first time. And so I'm going to use just a little bit of this bone black is the transparent color. And I'm going to put this on the surface and cool that yellow down with just a little bit of black. So it kind of makes it a gray tone. And that's probably the only black I'm going to be using here in this video. Well, good night. Good night. Tonsils. Well, you mean like tonsils, like you have tonsils, Mr. Oakley? And so good night, and we'll see you the next time. 10, no, yeah. Yeah, that'll probably be a short video, or 9:30, 10, something like that tomorrow night. If you are available to see, you can see. I'm not going to go flip through any of the cards, but maybe I'll look at some of the more unusual. I have 2 acquisitions that were sort of unusual. One was a given. It was given a deck, and that one scrub that color out of here. I guess I'll have to go actually get some of it. Where's the bone black at? Tonsils are in you someplace. I think. I don't know what they're good for. I think they have something to do with your immune system. I have my tonsils. So I'm hoping this will turn into an optical gray. That's the color you want, is an optical gray. So we'll see how it works out when I do a sunset on this piece tomorrow. There's all kinds of different colors underneath it. You can see it in there. Let it dry completely, and it should have a good picture in it. So I'm almost done with that other painting, and this is, I demonstrated a 6-layer underpainting. I didn't show, I did start with adding gesso down first, but that is that. And then you paint on top of that. You see what you get. Okay, let's finish this thing. Then I have to use the restroom, but I'm gonna finish this thing and call it good. Or I might just almost finish the painting and finish it when the camera's turned off. Okay, what I was going to do is I'm using this one for whites and yellows, and I'm going to use this one for blues. Blue colors and so forth. And so we're going to come in, we got the blue here, and I'm going to pick up some of the darker blue, and we're going to add that in here. And I need, I'm going to go grab some of this white over here and add this in here. So we have 2 different shades of blue that we're going to be working off of. And okay. And coming back in with this one. You know, I might actually darken this up a little bit more and take some of this, what is left of this bone black. Okay, so it's kind of green, but it's okay. You know, it really dried fast. Just gonna see if I can grab some of it. Okay, so we have some of the darker shades, and we're going to put that in here. And so that red, that crimson, is showing through. It will show through and add depth and complexity to the final image. And unfortunately, you're not going to see the final image because the final image really is not going to come into fruition until tomorrow. And after it's had an overnight time for all these layers to dry together and so forth. Some of these pictures remind me of like Star Wars, like Tatooine, and these are, and when Anakin is speeding on the speeder, on the land speeder, and he's trying to find his mother, and he's and this is what this scene kind of reminds me of. It must be heavily influenced. I really like Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I saw the very first Star Wars a long time ago. I waited in line to see it. Now, one of the things I need to do in my studies, and I'm not remembering quite right, I need to remember, and that's also important, is to, when you do water, is to remember, is to think of where the colorations are, but we're just going to make it up here. So I'm going to make this wave come in like this, and then we're going to come right behind it with, we're going to come in front of it with some lighter color, and then some back of it with some little bit of a darker color. So trying to make a wave out there. So I think we'll add a little bit of this Zilliron Crimson into here, and so we'll have behind it just a little bit of a darker zone, and then coming like that, and then we'll do a little bit of that back in here. And so we got these waves rolling in. Over here there's maybe some reflection of the rock on the water, a little bit over here as well. And so kind of that wave structure. I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to just grab some of the titanium white, some lighter, way more lighter color, and I'm going to just kind of put that in, kind of in the front here. And so you might think, maybe you're thinking that these are waves. Maybe it will have that appearance because it's starting out there. And I think I'm just going to leave this stuff as is. I'm just going to leave it as is. Maybe just do a few highlights of some pieces just right here. A little bit of sparklers of color on top of the water. Over there, just kind of randomly. And then we're going to be building another wave coming in over here. And some with this Zilliron Crimson. Just some of these spots, just kind of there, over there, in here, over there. Some just areas of light and darkness, just to simulate, and I sound like a broken wave, we're simulating just the movement in the water, the energy of the water, and the rising and the falling of the water. I'm going to stand up and take a look at it. Plus my legs are getting stiff. I've been sitting for 2 hours here. Yeah, I think that's starting to come together. And then tomorrow I will do a thin glaze of a solid color. Now I'll just do a glaze on top of it, and then I'll varnish it, and that will it'll just bring it all out. I wonder how much a painting like this would be worth. I mean, granted, you take in mind that it has 8 hours of labor gone into it already. And Mama Sushi, welcome. Welcome. I'm just working at it, working it. And I'm going to come in and do the next wave coming in. And Ange has cashed it in for the night, and okay. So we have a wave that comes through over here. The next wave, I don't know. I think I might call it quits here for the night. I need to think about this. I need to think about it. I think I'm gonna, because I think of where that next wave is. I think I'll do one up here and then, I don't know. I really feel like I need to, I feel like I need to let this set right. I don't know if that makes sense, because I gotta look at it for a while, because that's actually an important part of the process of building a piece of art, is when you get to a point where you don't really know what to do next, then you got to put it aside and then either do something else. But I'm just going to put it aside and I'm going to call it a night. I've been at this for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And there's something else I need. I might read another one of these Kabir poems and call it a night here. Got some of my own poetry in it too. Oh, looks like it's got some Catholic stuff in it. Okay. There's one that I want to read really bad. I need to find it. I also love that one as well. The last laying sideways. What was that? What is the most important aspect of mythological narrative and poetry? It is a historical accuracy. Is it a historical accuracy, or is it something else? What I get from this poem is this: when we attack or approach religious narratives with an academic or scientific methodology, we end up destroying the spiritual aspect or truth of what we study. When reason is applied to faith stories, the end result is a spiritual vacuum. The essential truth of the story becomes harder to access. I must have written that when I was in graduate school. Reason. You already feel miles away. The guest is inside you and also inside me. The guest is inside you and also inside me. You know the sprout is hidden inside the seed. We are all struggling, and none of us have gone far. Let your arrogance go and look around inside. The blue sky opens out farther and farther. That daily sense of failure goes away. The damage I have done to myself fades. A million suns come forward with light when I sit firmly in that world. I hear bells ringing that no one has shaken. Inside love, there is more joy than we know of. Rain pours down, although the sky is clear of clouds. There are whole rivers of life, of light. The universe is shot through in all parts by a single sort of love. How hard is it to feel that joy in all our four bodies: fire, wind, water, sky, earth, four elements, four bodies. Those who hope to be reasonable about it fail. The arrogance of reason has separated us from that love. With the word reason, you already feel miles away. How lucky Kabir is that surrounded by all this joy, he sings inside his own little boat. His poems amount to one soul meeting another. These songs are about forgetting and dying and loss. They rise above both the coming in and going out. They rise above both the coming in and the going out. And where is that poem? I want to read to you the last poem. I want that read that poem. End up looking through every one, huh? It's not that one. Not that one. I suppose I'm chasing everybody away by reading poetry, huh? Holds himself. No. Spiritual athlete. No, let's see, it's getting close. Dulcimer. Live. No. No, I'm probably not going to find it in any reasonable length of time. I thought it was towards the end. Love Swing. Ah, there it is. That's the one. 28. There is nothing but water in the holy pools. I know I have been swimming in them. All the gods sculpted of wood or ivory can't say a word. I know I have been crying out to them. The sacred books of the East are nothing but words. I looked through their covers one day sideways. What Kabir talks of is only what he has lived through. If you have not lived through something, it is not true. It is not real. And so, that is my favorite spiritual poet. Kabir songs. Those were adaptations done by Robert Bly, like in the 70s. And if you happen to look it up, the songs of Kabir Robert Bly, he does a really good presentation of it with a sitar. And so he's reading the poetry in that Robert Bly type voice to a musical accompaniment. And I remember when I first heard that, I was just graduated from college, or maybe it's even before. I graduated college in 94, and it just, that discovery of spoken word poetry, and that opened my mind to new possibilities. And that set me on a journey that I'm still on today of reciting the spoken word out loud. Reciting the spoken word out loud, and reciting the spoken word out loud brings words to life. It breathes life into those words in ways that just reading them alone does not do. You can add that energy into it in the reading of it, like the colors of light and darkness on this page here, bringing out the life of this ocean that I wish to capture, this moment in time and space that exists only in one's imagination. And so that's it for tonight. And I wish you all a blessed, blessed Christmas holiday and a New Year. I will be back tomorrow night, maybe as early as 9:30, maybe 9:39, 9:49, maybe 10:10, and I will be just briefly going through all my tarot deck acquisitions for 2024. I'll talk a little bit about some of the more unusual ones that I have. Most of them are standard mass market ones, but I have a couple that are really really unique. Anyways, that's it for tonight, and thank you everybody who pushed the like button and the subscribe button, and for Mama Sushi, for Ange, for Mr. Bean Oakley, for Purple Winds and Wildflower Spiritual Arts, for Jessica, for Lionheart, for Yellow, for everybody who engaged in the chat with me, and for everybody lurking on. Until the next time, bye-bye.